Hey, welcome everybody to the Daily Space Weather. I'm your host Dan, aka smAsho. The editor has told me that I forgot to talk about a digitally delusional dame. Geomagnetic storm conditions have finally subsided. We're still in geomagnetic unrest. And what about a propagandistic norm in response to a geomagnetic storm, or just a storm of propaganda, indeed? We're looking at the sun here at 94 angstroms. And active region there in the northeast. Large coronal hole leading the active region and connecting to the north solar polar field region. Large north coronal hole, and we're expecting a KP of 6 coming in the next couple of days here. The next day or two, we're expecting another geomagnetic storm. This one actually a little stronger than the last one, and we've got a high electron flux too. We were in about 3 times electron flux storm levels yesterday. Here's a custom HelioViewer movie. It's the magnetogram, and you see not a lot of changes going on with those active regions in the north and south there. Here's the 304 angstroms view. And that's just a one-day video there, your basic HelioViewer. And that coronal hole is so well defined in front of that former sunspot active region there that you can actually see it in these wavelengths. So it's quite the coronal hole area, and we should see an extended coronal hole wind stream from this one. And we could see some power grid failures, especially in places like Ecuador and so on. Now, speaking of Ecuador, do they eat guacamole in Ecuador? Last night we made this killer taco salad. We may make another video today with the guacamole recipe.
Yes.
So perhaps look for that coming out. Yes, I made a giant bowl of guacamole last night. We only ate half of it. And guess what? It's not brown because it's part of the recipe. Now, what's the point? Well, if you don't follow us on Instagram, you may not see posts like the one I'm showing you here. And just allow me to just check the life of the stream here for a quick moment, folks. Bear with me. We are streaming live to Twitch right now. All right, and we are good. Anyway, here's my latest post on Instagram. And this is from a YouTube comment section. I like to take screenshots sometimes of YouTube comments, as oftentimes posters of videos, content creators will delete your comments or ban you. And of course, this has probably happened. In my case, the comment was, it's a cumulus cloud, not a cumulonimbus. Clouds are what happens when water vapor condenses on things like dust particles. Clouds are made of water and not associated with UFOs. Clouds are identified buoyant objects. They're IBOs, identified buoyant objects. They aren't identified and they aren't flying. I'll bet you could figure out why I'm saying this if you're a regular viewer of the channel. It's because of our pal here, Gina Maria Colvin Hill. And here's one of her latest. This one's from yesterday. She puts out a lot of content, and she probably makes about 5 figures per month in order to make this nonsense. Check this out. They're spaceships, not clouds.
Clouds in the sky, they are not clouds. They are ships. When
you see flat-bottom clouds in the sky, they are not clouds. They are ships. Now, I think Gina might have some success in the field of psychiatric help. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe that's not the most flattering image of Gina, but this video's got nearly 11,000 views.
The screen is so dark. Yeah. Oh my goodness, I can barely see how long I've been on here.
So in any case, Gina thinks that clouds with flat bottoms are ships, alien spacecraft. And of course she sees alien spacecraft in everything. A shocking hallucinatory YouTube channel. If you want to see it, I'm not going to tell you the URL, but if you type in Gina Maria Colvin Hill, you'll find all kinds of nonsense all over the internet. And let's just get back to regular space weather stuff, because yesterday's title included the words digitally delusional dame and that's the one I was referring to. It's Gina Maria Colvin Hill. Go follow her on YouTube. Give her a like and subscribe and tell her that we sent you there. And maybe she should consider unbanning us or whatever's going on. I don't know. I think my comments are hidden or something on her ridiculous page. The radio flux, which is a measurement of the radio output from the solar corona of the 10.7 centimeter variety, is at 73, the same as yesterday. And here's a great image of that coronal hole system. It reaches all the way down from the pole to the equator there. So we're expecting some serious protons on the way. Significant coronal hole wind stream headed this way, and we see some significant magnetism and high electron flux and a lot of stuff kind of going on at the same time. So we'd better continue on here because there is lots of stuff to still cover in the daily space weather. KP index has come all the way down to 2 now. So we are expecting this to go back up to 6 in the next couple of days here, like the next 48 hours, let's say. KP all the way down to 2. We don't see any more significant solar flares, although we did see a C-class that we covered on yesterday's daily space weather video. It was even featured on the thumbnail, and no major proton events. Next, the real-time solar wind showing us a continued stable solar wind density. It's ramped down a little bit from yesterday, now at about 7 protons per cubic centimeter, and it looks like a coronal hole magnetic connection here going on as we see a 164-degree phi angle. That's pretty close. BTBZ is relatively uneventful here. Solar wind speed has ramped down to just under 500 kilometers a second, still elevated. And here's the magnetohydrodynamic pressure. Magnetohydrodynamic pressure. Yes, don't say it too fast or you'll mispronounce it, as I just did. And we're looking at the magnetosphere here from quite a distance. Multiple Earth diameters out, obviously. And the sun would be to your left for you new viewers out there. Anyway, that's 4 hours of data. It's all based on the University of Michigan geospace model, part of the space weather modeling framework. And we decided to bring up the geoelectric field here because we've seen some induction. And we just wanted to show you some induction, actually getting very far south here. Typically we see induction from these situations usually farther north. And we see some significant inductive pulses there in the power grid, all the way down around the Gulf Coast, surprisingly. But the main fluctuations we typically see are in places like northern Minnesota and northern North Dakota. That's sort of a normal spot we see for a lot of geoelectric induction in the power grid, which is what we're viewing here. This is the geoelectric field as measured in millivolts per kilometer. So here are the ground magnetic perturbations. And yeah, some significant magnetic perturbations here continuing on, despite the KP being down to 2. And the KP index, for all of you wondering, is a measurement of global geomagnetism. Anyway, there's 4 hours of data during this polar excursion. And you should probably see this subside, especially if the solar wind drops lower in density or velocity. Next, looking at the GOES magnetometers, and we see some pretty high readings here. Pretty high highs and pretty high lows. And again, there is a significant stream of plasma likely in between us and the sun. Expect to see some a lot of significantly spiky behavior in this. We've also got some plasma fixated in the corona right now. So let me just bring up Epic Pen here. I failed to bring that out today, folks. Oh my God. I'm just, the whole situation's crashing. Like the stock of Microsoft. Wait, no. Microsloth. Wait. Microsloth, you are making me very upset. Okay, I'm over it now. Alright, so just bear with me 1 minute again, folks. We are streaming live, and everything looks pretty healthy on the live stream. If you're viewing live on Twitch, please leave us a nice comment, or perhaps an evil comment. So if you see this region right here, you see there's a bunch of plasma suspended out there, and there's a bunch of conflicting field force lines. Don't be surprised to see us snap across into the South Pole current sheet at any moment. I would expect it to be in the next 6 hours, I would expect to see the Earth's orange line here, the potential field force line snap into the South Pole current sheet, shown in red. We're currently in the North Pole current sheet. And it's about time for that to switch, right as a coronal hole wind stream arrives. So a bunch of different stuff all happening at once, as I said earlier. Here's the line of sight field plot. You can see the B field shown here in blue. This data 1 hour and 55 minutes old. Keep in mind it can change with no warning. Here's the coronal hole field plot. And this one shows closed potential field force lines in pink, coronal hole field force lines in purple, and open potential field force lines in black. And it's an interesting animation there of the corona. Please note the time and date stamps. This is from the 24th through today. And welcome to another edition of the Smash Lights, where I talk about whatever I want. I might get enraged, or I might just be perfectly chill, and I won't even yell about anything. If you enjoy the content, please press like and subscribe on YouTube. We do have a bunch of playlists, and look for us to be adding stuff to these regularly, such as Ownage Food and Drink. Ownage Food and Drink. Yes, only 14 videos on there. We might put the guac recipe, maybe the whole taco bowl recipe in there today. We're also on BitChute, thanks to our subscribers over there. And there's exclusive content on all of our social media. We do stream live most days to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/smashamash. Thanks for everybody over there showing your support. Check out smashamash.org. You can find the rest of our social media there, as well as links to our places like the Smash Store, where you can buy Smash-A-Mash branded merch. And we'll feature some more merch from the smAsho store later in the video. Perhaps you'd like to get a cosmology-themed shirt featuring massive Radio Galaxy 3C405. Please let us know, Mary, if you're enjoying the shirt, and maybe provide a photograph. Yes. If it's not photographed, it's never happened. By the way, 3C405 Massive Radio Galaxy is the second strongest radio source in the entire sky, second only to the sun. And now we've moved on to the scary and spooky section, where you're sitting around and everything's just fine, and then, oh my God, there's a bunch of coronavirus cases. Whatever shall I do? Well, here's what you shouldn't do. Be scared of COVID, because were you aware that the average age of death from COVID is 80, which is, I believe, higher than that's right on the life expectancy of an American? So, isn't that spooky? Oh my God, I'm so scared and spooked. I'm so scared and spooked that I'm just gonna go, What? Meditation kills COVID? All right, I'm just making that up, folks. Let's talk about my response. It has not been infantile and pathetic like most of mankind's, especially governments, corporations, and about half the world's population. Let's talk about a real respirator. It's the Honeywell North 5500 series. And we're advertising it at smashamash.com/affiliate. If you'd like to pick up yours, just head to smashamash.com/affiliate and avoid the entire shopping process, and just scroll down and view our links. Now, you do have to have ad blockers turned off, since a link to a product is obviously an ad. But don't worry, we don't have any spyware installed on our page, folks. It's just a page full of links to Amazon ads for our affiliate. Because we affiliate, and we suggest people buy stuff that's actually effective instead of nonsense. So this type of mask actually does protect you. Just keep in mind that if you get one of these types of masks, this is the X-current, this is the exhaust valve, and this does not filter anything. You would actually need to cover this up with cloth to meet most of the idiotic and infantile responses to allow you to go into places like stores, places of business, etc. What a joke. This mask actually protects you, it just doesn't protect people from you. However, you can modify this in various ways. This little end, you see that little tab on the end cap there? That tab pops off, and you can take that thing off of there, and you can add other devices. I don't know. There's just head to smashamash.com/affiliate. We've got all the accessories for it there, except modifications for that X-current valve. that exhaust valve. I don't even know if you can get a thing for that. But we've got organic vapor filters, which are more than you need to filter out small particles. We've also got the N95 pads, which fit into these caps. See these end caps, they fit over the cartridges, and they extend the life of the cartridges. So that's some real respiration protection. That's today's featured Amazon affiliate object, smashomash.com/affiliate. Thanks to our patrons for affiliating. Now, they're not made in China, like a cheap Chinese China virus made from cheap Chinese China plastic from China. Chinese China plastic. Thanks to our patrons, a real source of funding for the content. Please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/smashomash. We're going to talk cosmology for a quick blurb in today's cosmology segment. Now, we cover cosmic rays regularly on the channel. We covered them yesterday, and one of the only cosmic ray known point sources in the world is Cygnus X3. We've been noticing some oddities here. It's just coming out of its quiescent state, first of all, and it was in a bit of an extended quiescent state. We saw one of the higher transients we've ever seen out of X3 having just happened in the past 24 hours. Lastly, we see some oddities happening here in the daily periodicity. Cygnus X3 is a massive X-ray binary, and the orbiting object has a 4.8-hour periodicity, and you can see it's getting weird. So this is 1 day worth of activity here, and if you look, this is not your normal 4.8-hour periodicity. This doesn't usually look quite like this, and this is yet another reason why you should encourage your local, tell your favorite radio astronomer to go swing his radio telescope at Cygnus X3. We need to see what's going on with this thing when it's coming out of its quiescent state. If you want to read more about X3, head to smashomash.com/forum. We've cleaned it up and deleted thousands and thousands of spam posts from Chinese spammers. Click on the Cosmology Forum and scroll down. We have two posts that are, pinned. Two pinned posts there. One is the most, and the other is the most luminous object visible in the Milky Way galaxy from our location, Cygnus X3, massive X-ray binary and celestial pole star known as Deneb, the tail of the swan. Anyway, we've compiled lots of information about the subject. It's already over 2 pages long. Perhaps check it out if you don't know about Cygnus X3. It's interesting. Please consider supporting the channel via things like Mansa shirts. I mean, perhaps you'd like to buy one in gun barrel gray. Will it decrease the probability that you'll have justice applied at the end of a gun barrel? Well, geez, let's hope you don't find yourself living in a communist, socialist authoritocracy. You already live in a corporatist plutocracy. Could we not make it a socialist corporatist plutocracy? An oligarchic social... That's too many words. Anyway, please, Mansa, make America not suck again. Or perhaps go tell your friends and foes that all things matter. I know it's complex. I know it's difficult for a lot of people to understand that all things matter, but they do. And you can link to all that stuff just by simply heading to smashomash.org. It'll redirect you to smashomash.com, and you'll see links to all of those stores on the page. And here ends another episode of the Smash Lights. Now that I've vanished, let's continue on to some more stuff. Here's the 1-year graph of the relativistic electron flux. This is a measure of what's going on in the Van Allen belts. And we surprisingly don't really see very much charging hazard right now at this time. That's 10:25 universal time on 9/27. We are seeing a forecast here by NOAA for an increase in the electron flux. And we did get up to about 3 times warning levels yesterday. There is the 3-day graph. And we're already in warning levels. So you may see lots of things like GPS errors, especially around the equator at noon. Let's see if we see any anomalies. A couple little anomalies there over the Antarctic continent, as well as in the north. Not too surprising considering there's a geomagnetic storm just subsiding. Anyway, there's your data on that. Here is just the ionosphere. And you can see around the equinox, the ionosphere is going to be very much centered on the equator, and you'll see a pretty similar north versus south ionospheric behavior. And here we do see it. So while we do see big charge ups and charge downs on both the sun and dark side of the planet, it's pretty normal for the equinox. Keep in mind the equinoxes are when we see the most geomagnetic activity, probably having to do with the field-aligned currents being more equivalent than around the solstices. Here's the latest image. Not looking too, a little bit charged up on both sides there. That's at 10:15 Universal Time. Here is the planetary environment. There's where things will be in a week, assuming that Nibiru doesn't come around from behind the sun. You know, since people believe Nibiru is right over here, they think it's right there, hiding from the Earth on the opposite side of the sun. Maybe Nibiru will pop out. Have you noticed how the one scrying forecast came true? The way Venus and Mars would switch places because now people think there's life on Venus and not on Mars. Did you notice that? Do you think that was luck? Do you really think that was luck, folks? Seriously? I like to use in-the-. Now that was the planetstoday.com, by the way. Shout out to the planetstoday.com. Drop me a line. We'll do an interview with you. Now we're on in-the-sky.org. As I like to know what stars are in the sky. Where were you when Deneb set? Well, it's been up all summer long in the northern hemisphere. Also, if you're up before dawn, you may see Venus and Mars. Yes, I think it's still dark where I am. Let's move on to earthquakes. As we see a 6.1 having struck in the southern Indian Ocean. There's a location of that. And let's go down the list. And we saw one come in while I was doing the live stream once again. All right, let's go up the list here. Here's a deep quake at Dominica. And the Caribbean is a site of deep quake, folks. We see deep quakes there regularly. Here's a small deep quake at Alaska. And there's that South of Africa quake, rather. And it's on the Antarctican/African plate boundary. It's a 6.1 magnitude. It came out at 17:10 yesterday Universal Time, so 10 after 5 Greenwich Mean Time. A couple quakes in Greece there. Quite an active region indeed is Greece. Some very far north quakes, including this Iceland quake. That one at 8.2 kilometers. And did I lose track of what I was doing? I think it's time for me to reappear. And just scrolling up the list. And a deep quake strikes Guatemala just about a half an hour ago. It's a 5.3 magnitude at over 100 kilometers. And while we're doing the live stream, one struck the Greenland Sea at a 4.6 magnitude. Next, looking at volcanoes, we do seismicity, then we do volcanology. Suwanosejima, has been producing a 6,000-foot plume of ash. Please don't pole vault the caldera. Mount Ibu is exploding. 6,000-foot ash plume there. Semeru, 14,000-foot ash plume there. Sangay, 19,000-foot ash plume. Bervenador, 15,000-foot ash plume. As it explodes, and Sabancaya also exploding. 27,000-foot ash plume there. Please do not attempt to do the Fosbury flop over the caldera. It could be unhealthful. And we really, really need the views on YouTube. Lol. Just kidding. We don't seem to get views on YouTube, so we just said, whatever. Here's a weather.gov map, and we see a bunch of red flag warnings, meaning don't go starting brush on fire, especially on purpose, as well as some hard freeze warnings, stretching all the way from the northern Rockies down to the central Rockies here. However, in sporadic fashion. So some freeze warnings there, folks. Next, we're looking at nullschool.net, and we're actually looking at the surface winds for once. I was looking at the surface winds. Oh, you got some high winds in the North Pacific here. .63-mile-per-hour winds, practically hurricane-force winds there. And it could actually be that strong, believe it or not. Let's look at 25 hectopascals. And the jet streams of the Western world. There you have it. Here are the jet streams of the Eastern world. And let me check the chat and the life of the live stream once again before we continue on with some more data. We'll blast through and open a whole bunch of tabs so you don't have to. Here's the water vapor situation for Africa and Europe. Shout out to our viewers from those locales. Water vapor maps for the Far East and Oceania. Shout out to our viewers from those locales. Here is the water vapor situation for the American station, North and South America. Here's the pressure map. We're going to advance this into the GFS forecast, as we do most days. Major high pressure in the North Atlantic. There's where things will be at noon tomorrow, according to the GFS forecast. Some major low pressure systems in the southern hemisphere, making for some massive pressure gradients between those areas. A little bit less disparities in pressure in the north. And we saw a major lightning storm while we were doing show prep here. It's still going on. Check out the lightning in the Caribbean and Central America. Major lightning storm. If you're anywhere near those locations, go out and have a look. Here's the full world map. And again, major lightning there over the Central American and Caribbean regions. Quite the situation. Here's a U.S. Doppler radar map. Pretty calm, although some snow falling in Wyoming and Montana. Here's what's going on in the cloud layer. Some rapid cloud nucleation over the Gulf of Mexico. Let's zoom in. Check it out. There's your weather pornography segment for the day, folks. Rapid cloud nucleation. And note the way we see low clouds here, right next to these higher cloud tops. And keep in mind, folks, low clouds are associated with cosmic rays. If you weren't aware, it's true, folks. And let's zoom in on that same region here in water vapor to show you the difference between clouds and water vapor. The difference is, folks, water vapor satellite imagery shows you water not condensed onto clouds. And it does give you insight into what's going on the Doppler as well. Anyway, there's a scenario for that. By the way, thanks Smash team. Have you considered purchasing some merch? Head to smashamash.com or smashamash.org, which will redirect you. Look for future sister sites coming soon. Head to the other links also below the video. There's lots of different stuff you could purchase for your friends and foes, perhaps. What about a lime green Smash team shirt? Huh? Huh? Ha! That's an amazing team you got there, Smash. Be a shame if it vanished. So please reduce the likelihood that it will vanish. By picking up some merch. What's up with that? And thanks everybody for tuning in. Thanks for flying American Smashways. Please do keep your head and arms inside the Smash plane, because we've got bonus features. We've got a colorized magnetogram, freshly updated to the highest res available on the SDO site, which is 4 megapixels. There's the active region. Does not look like a sunspot, although we did see some umbrae. It could get renamed, actually. So let's see what's going on. Here's the intensity gram. We're going to look at this southern region first. I don't see any spots there. But up here we do see some minor darkening areas there. It could get another name today, so keep an eye on that. When I say ion, well, the pun is just intentional. I'm sure you get, because there's ions, you know, charged particles, plasma. In any case, we are out, and may that solar wind be at your back. And Sir Giddy, I will check out the link. I did see your comment there, Sir Giddy. You don't offend me by leaving the link. Not in this case, not on Twitch at least, not yet. So yeah, I'll gladly check out your link. And thanks for leaving a comment. And see you next time.